John Stewart, and I would like to welcome you to Extra Credit with Ricky Quinn. In this series, we're going to go a little deeper into horses, horsemanship, and life in general. And if you do not know Ricky Quinn or had the privilege of riding in one of his clinics, let me introduce you to horseman, clinician, rancher, and my friend, Ricky Quinn. Hello, Ricky.
Hello, John. How are you?
Doing great. So, Ricky, in this series, based on the feedback from viewers of the last series, 3 Questions with Ricky Quinn, we're going to go a little deeper into horsemanship. These videos are not designed to replace one of your clinics. We still want people to attend your clinics and have an opportunity to ride with you or audit one of your clinics. But these videos are really designed as extra credit for those of us that want to go a little deeper. Perhaps after we've participated in one of your clinics, this is a great way to follow up and keep thinking about horsemanship. And in this series, we're going to show videos of you working different horses and really get you to give us some play-by-play of what you're doing and more specifically what you're trying to do. So does that sound all right?
Sounds fun.
Good. All right, so Ricky, I know you love sports, so let's approach this kind of like a broadcast team at a football game. You'll lead with the play-by-play, explain everything that we're watching, and then I'll provide some color commentary, ask some stupid questions. I'll probably ask you to stop every now and then. When we see you at your clinic working a horse, it's not really appropriate for me to, kind of do the timeout and say, "Stop, Ricky, tell me what you just did there." So that's really what this is designed to do, is for us to watch you work a horse and have the opportunity to talk to you about what you're actually trying to accomplish. So let's get started. Right now, this first episode, Ricky, we're going to introduce everyone to a horse that you're working with called Yaya. It's a 3-year-old gelding. Why don't you talk about Yaya? What kind of breeding does Yaya
have? He's out of by a stud that we have named Shine Delight, who's a CD Lights, and he's out of a Murata mare on the bottom. He's just coming 3 years old this spring. A guy that I work with, Wes, he started him in Brannaman's clinic in June, put a couple rides on him. We just kind of turned him out until right around end of October, 1st of November. I picked him up, and at the clinic here in January in Arizona is where I really kind of started to become way more consistent day-to-day riding him. So he's pretty green in the video. So that'll explain a lot of stuff.
Good. Well, let's get started on the video. I'm going to bring the video up, and then, like you said, this is in January. Started with Yaya. All right, Ricky. So tell us what you're doing here.
Okay. Can you hear me okay, John?
I can hear you great.
Perfect. Okay. Well, what I'm trying to do is get the front feet and the hind feet together is really what I'm doing. And so I'm going to go through the idea of separating the front from the hind, getting the horse where he can shift over his hind or shift his weight onto his front to be able to unweight the other end to be able to shift it. And so as you can see here with him, he's not there in the beginning. He wasn't really connected to the lead rope like he is at the moment right here. Mm-hmm. And he will try to evade to the side. See there how that front end and that right front's kind of wanting to leave and go sideways? Yep. So I'll be working really hard in this video to try to get this horse to where he's coming forward and through. So the whole horse, the whole body is coming forward and through. And as I roll the hind quarters off to the left here, can you hear that in the background, John?
Yeah, your kids are excited about how you're working the horse. That's fine.
Yeah, I apologize.
No, it's great.
As I roll the hind quarter stuff here, John, can you stop the video for just a second?
Absolutely.
Talk a little too fast. It's going a little quick. So as you watch, you guys, as I roll the hind quarters, there's a couple things that I'm looking for here that I want and that I'm noticing that while I'm working the horse that I don't desire as much. And one thing is, as I roll the hind, a lot of times in the beginning when we're first learning groundwork, we're trying to get the inside hind leg to cross under and through. See there?
Yep.
And that is something that we darn sure want to work on. But another thing I want to work on too, and you can kind of keep rewinding that and bringing it forward, John, is that the outside hind leg. I want to see how far as I roll the hind, I can get the outside hind leg to reach out. Right? So as I walk in here, I want that left hind to really reach. That way he can set himself to come through with the front. And so one thing I'll use it for is balance, just on the end of the lead rope, what I'm doing now, because he'll feel more comfortable as he's balanced, right? And get
So right there was a good. I mean, he had a good reach step under, but then it was really that outside foot stepping further out too.
Yeah, I need the outside hind to step further out to prepare him to make his turn. Because as he steps out to make his turn, the outside hind, the athleticism in a horse comes from the hind feet. It's the whole horse, right? But the engine is the hind feet. And so as an example, if I'm going to work a cow and I'm going to be coming and making a turn to my right, he's really got to find that outside hind and set himself, clear the inside hind, and give the front end room to go. And so that's what ultimately what I'm looking for here. Right now, I'm just trying to get him to where the hind and the front are working independent and together, right? United together. So I'm using the hind and front independently to get his whole body to roll along. And another thing to watch as we go through this, and we'll rewind and go forward. But see how when I go to ask for the hind quarters, his shoulders and front end will kind of move away from me. Now that's something that's very, very, very common, right? Right here. See how that shoulders are kind of going away?
Yep.
It's very common in groundwork. And it's something that if I have a really pushy horse, then I'm going to push him off of me. And the result may be that his shoulders are drifting away, right? But as I get to going along and the horse starts to find some boundaries, I don't want those shoulders drifting to the outside all that much. See, he's still to the outside here to me. His mind, it's mostly his mind, He's just a young colt, and so he's exploring. He doesn't know how to come on in. Might be a little bit he's not necessarily afraid of me, but cautious of that space between he and I. I'm swinging the tail of the rope to get him to go, and
he's
all
looking
these
at everything
different
around
things.
you.
Yeah, and so I'm really working here at trying to just get those hindquarters to reach away, and then kind of get the right front or the saddle horn to reach to me. So if you watch here, I want that right front coming to me. And he's having a hard time, so I just bring the front on through. And as we go here, that's pretty balanced there. But I'd sure like to start to see that front end as I'm walking this circle. And for people who have kind of been around this horsemanship before, think of it as I'm riding him and I'm picking up on my left rein and trying to get the left front foot to reach to the inside. So I'm trying to roll the hind and reach that front foot to the inside at the same time. And you could see how he's kind of clumsy coming through there with that front end. That's a result of the balance of the hind. There, that's a little bit, but I needed to move him out, right? Apparently he was a little bit stuck in coming through there. So I'm kind of saying here with some life in his body and saying, you come through that front and then kind of fire out of there a little bit. Put some effort into getting forward.
So I'm gonna rewind this again just as we watch you work this.
Yeah, rewind the whole thing if you want to, John.
Sure.
It's really hard to, as people, I mean, just explaining to people here as we do this kind of live how we're doing it. I don't want to get to talking too fast, to try to keep up with the video. So as I come through, I'm looking for the right hind to reach way out. There. And then he'll find his hind feet, set himself to come through. And that was okay, right? Now I'm saying go forward with some life and energy. Get those front feet out in front of you and let's go, right? And now what I'm saying is drift your hind, but reach that right front to the inside at the same time because he wants to just leave me sideways. See him lick his lips there?
Yep.
Now he's reaching that front to the inside. There it is. See the whole look of the horse? See how he stopped his feet?
Set up. Yep.
He set up. See how easy it was to move his front to the right? Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to see that one more time here, Ricky, because
please
there's
do.
a nice change right there.
Yeah. That'll be another circle yet here. But here I'm saying get forward. Get forward. Get that left hind out there. Get forward. Now right in here. Get forward. I'm kind of pulling on that lead rope saying get that front to the inside. And there it is. Right there was the step. And he's just found it. He's licking his lips. And watch him round out here. This is how I want one to round out. Just like that. That's hindquarters to me. Look how easy it was for his front. He was balanced through his whole body. See, and they get to drifting outside. If we're not careful in this groundwork and we're chasing those hindquarters around, the horse is evading to the out to the side. And because we're chasing this idea of bend and rounding out, which is all good, right? But sometimes Joe Walters says it. I love what he says. He says, if your horse doesn't know how to bend, then bend him. And as soon as he knows how to bend, stop bending him. And I'm starting to understand the value of what that means. And so I know there's bend in my horse here, but there's not as much bend in him as maybe what I would have had in my horses 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. But the bend that I had in him before, I would call today kind of a false bend. And the horse is a lot straighter now. And so what this will lead into also is the days that I start really picking up on two hands and I need to get those shoulders over to the right while I'm loping him and get his hindquarters up underneath of him. So this groundwork on the end of this lead rope, as you get them united and rolling the front and the hind, will really start to carry over into the saddle into a lot of other things that I'm going to do also.
Ricky, can we talk
See,
about
right there on that lead rope? That was another spot. Can you rewind it just a little, John?
Yep.
Right there. Watch me kind of pull on this lead rope right here. See, he's drifting outside, and I'm saying, come forward and come in. See if he does it again here. Come forward. There, he's finding it.
Yep.
There. See him brace right there? That's him going away. He's not really drawing off that lead rope. And I want him to draw and roll at the same time. I want him to draw in. There, he's doing it. Right there, he's doing it. See how nice that is? Look how easy this transition will be. Bang. There it is. Right? So if I get that draw from him and his shoulders and roll the hind, the front is, I didn't train him to move his front over. Right here, I'm saying same thing. I'm drawing the nose, drawing the front, or trying to here. And he's saying, I'm, there it is. Almost. So I'm drawing. See how he does. A little bit clumsy with the front, but I don't think that was, at some point you got to go, right? You got to turn him. Just got to turn him. Nothing's going to be perfect. He's got to fill in. And so sometimes here I may wait on him a little longer and really hold his hand through it, make sure it's all right. And then other times I may just kind of call on him and say, how much of this responsibility are you going to take on yourself? I'll just put myself into position and you do the rest.
Well, Ricky, what I was going to say, I'm glad that we can rewind these videos and rewatch some things, because when you said, did you see him brace up right there? I missed it, and I want to like start a little bit, because I know some people who are joining us have probably just started riding with you or are new to this whole groundwork thing. I think one of the things that I really want to watch this video over and over is just to see how the mechanics of how you're using the rope. A lot of times when people start, working the hind and trying to work the front, they're holding onto the rope and just yanking on the horse. Talk about just kind of how you're feeling of the horse right here, because I mean, your energy is really what's driving that horse even more so than.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about some mechanics here, because right now I'm going to rewind that right there, because.
Well, pause it for just a second, John, because I got to explain. So like you're dead on. You said your energy is kind of what's causing this horse to go. And I'm not doing a whole lot of swinging to the tail of the rope and whacking him and kicking dirt at him and bumping him with my hands and doing a bunch of things. But I've been working really hard on creating a relationship with this horse that he's starting to feel of me. So when I start to create energy in my body, he starts to figure out how he needs to respond to that, right? And then you can go ahead and play it.
Okay.
And so the art of this whole thing is to see how little you can do and how much your horse can do, right?
Right.
And
you got such a gentle feel right there on that lead rope.
Yeah. I'm trying to get a float in that lead rope, right? Because that says a lot about where your horse is. He's not pulling away from you and dragging it through your hands or running over top of you. That there's a balance on that. And I'm trying to help him find the balance on the end of that. Right there, I'm saying, you're too far out. Get back here. Too far out. But I'm doing it in a particular way. I'm not just randomly pulling. I'm looking for right here, right there. See that right front reach there?
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was a good one. Right? And look how it just changed him.
I'm going to rewind this one more time just so we can kind of
Yep.
see this. But I think
Yep.
getting the float in that rope, obviously it's your energy level, but then uh, I'm amazed at how, and as a horseman, I need to get better at ramping up my energy and ramping down the energy. I mean, because right there, you're letting that horse just feel of you as you're asking for the hind.
Yeah.
And
See
it's
him
like you're
licking his
using,
lips.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's like
Here it
so
comes.
many of us we're looking at the mechanics of the rope and we're not bringing the energy in ourselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Here it comes, John. Here comes the right front. Watch that white front foot. Ready? Right there.
Boom.
That did the whole thing. All
Yeah,
that fuss for 2 circles, that one step settled him. Isn't that something?
it
And that's
is.
what we miss. That's what we miss. And that's what groundwork, this form of groundwork, what I'm doing, there's lots of people that do groundwork, right? And there's lots of,
Mhm.
flags and ropes and the whole thing. And that's all stuff that I do. And it's great stuff. And then there's different variations of groundwork. But um, everybody knows my foundation is more Brannaman, and he's really, really into this. And I'm very thankful of it and that I've stayed with it. He's always talked about, as you can see here, he's talked about, you use the groundwork to keep yourself safe and to get the horse balanced, but you also use your groundwork in as refinement.
Right.
And there's so much truth to that. And that's what I'm doing here is there's a lot going into what I'm trying to get this horse to do more than just move the hind over or move the front over, and I'm not looking, a lot of times I watch people do groundwork. If they're just using it to get the horse good enough so they can get on him, it's almost like they rush through it as if they don't have time to slow down here and really analyze the balance in the horse. Or you have the other side of things where people don't really analyze the balance of the horse, but they use the groundwork to really just kind of numb the horse down so that the human's not quite as scared to get on him.
Right.
And so there's a balance in the two. There's really a balance. And some days with this horse, I don't do any groundwork based on how he feels when I catch him in the pen and lead him to the barn. And other days I say, I know I might kind of roll him around a little bit here and see if I can't free him up a little. Because as you free him up and they get to where they can reach equally with all 4 feet and relax, as he looks, see right there, he's a little bit, I'm saying, get forward. Don't get stuck and don't get to drifting away from me so much. You got to kind of roll forward and drift the hind and come forward. There it is. Right? And I'm saying rolling the hind, and there's the front, little bit clumsy, but not too bad. Pretty good for him in the little bit that he knows. He's very, very green in this video.
So have you worked a flag on this horse at this point? I mean, you obviously have.
Well, like a flag in my hand and
Yeah.
desensitizing kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yep. hmm
Well, and I think a lot of us who are not professional horsemen like you are, Ricky, and Wes and Austin, and other people who work with you there, uh, being able to give ourselves the freedom to realize that I can have a good day doing groundwork with my horse, and some days I may not have to get on my horse because of what I'm trying to accomplish on the ground. Uh,
Yeah, John, I'm gonna say yeah. It's I guess the balance of the whole thing is just kind of what do you want your horse to know and what do you want him to do? You know,
right,
like this spot right here, that little bit of trouble that he
right
showed.
there.
If I got on his back and he got to a spot where I don't know something jumped out of the bushes or just something happened, that's how he's going to respond. I can almost bet you
Yeah,
$100. And it may amplify and become worse than that. Him leaning on my right hand and I can't get him bent a little bit to slow his feet down because 2 reins isn't going to mean much on a colt like this. And so that's why I'm doing it, right? That's why I'm doing this groundwork. And I'm not, so when you say, I could do a lot of groundwork and maybe not ride, I'm going to say, yeah, I mean, absolutely. But, John, I'm kind of a pusher.
right.
I
The
kind of
point is to
push
ride.
a little
Yeah.
bit. The point is, what do you want to do with your horse? Let's get there, So
Hmm.
yes, study your groundwork and do your thing, but don't just do your groundwork because you don't know what else to do for the day. If your horse is scared and he's braced up, then do your groundwork and get him right. And when he's right, ride him.
Got it.
But I don't just sit there and say, well, I need to work on my groundwork, so I'm gonna, do 45 minutes of groundwork a day. That can be boring as hell, John, for the horse, right? Get your
Yep.
point across, get some changes, and the greener you are, the changes, you may have to stay a little longer to get some changes. But the point is, don't do it just because. Do it because you're looking for something specific.
Got it. And don't just do groundwork to where it's boring for your horse too, because that's the other
Yeah.
balance of it, where I can just sit there and do
This is,
groundwork and groundwork and groundwork when
yep. That whole sequence right there, him rolling the hind. I
I'm
mean,
gonna rewind that.
half the, yeah. I mean, all the way through here, you can tell he's going to bring the front through well. He's shaping up to do it, right? He
Right there.
just look how far he reached with. Go back, John. Go back a sec. Watch his left hind leg here. No, that's too
I
far
went
back.
back too far. It's coming up.
That's all right. That's all right. So he's going to make it here, right? There's that right front right there. Just keep watching. Keep reaching that right front to the inside as I'm wanting the hind to drift to the outside. Here's the big one. So he's shaped up to do it. Watch the left hind, the brown foot. Watch it. Right
No.
here. Look, see how far he reached over there
Mm-hmm.
and set himself? That's what I want him to do working a cow, too. I want him athletic in the hind. Watch his right hind here. See how far he gets over there? But he's a little out of balance, but he's making an effort to really get that hind leg, that right hind, right there. See that?
Yeah.
Right there. Watch how this will come through. He's going to stumble through a little bit. Yep, because he didn't get that hind situated as well. So he's turning around his hind. It's a little bit in the way. So I really got to set. There's a decent one, but I sped him up. I'm saying, come on, set your hind and come through with energy. So here I think is a sequence where I kind of speed him up a little through the turn and saying, don't just lollygag through here. Get that leading foot. There's a good one. Get that leading foot out of the way and go, because when I start working a cow on him and I make my turn, he's got to leave.
Mm.
And so that's when I'm rolling the hind. I'm saying, make your turn, now leave. Well, maybe I didn't. He felt good. He was already free there. So if he's free, I knew I could ask him to leave, and he was free enough he was going to leave, so I don't ask.
And see, you're done here. That you're ready to saddle up and get moving.
Yeah, and it's not like, this horse is one of the most, he's so kind, and so you wouldn't have to do any groundwork with him, John,
Mm-hmm.
and saddle him up and ride off, and he would probably succeed his whole life. The horse isn't going to offer to buck. I don't think he has it in him. But I know that whether a horse is going to buck or not, they still have emotional stuff inside.
Right.
And so a lot of times people will do their groundwork with one because he's going to, how he shows his trouble that scares the people or whatever. And they say, that I could get myself in trouble with that horse. So I'm going to do a lot of groundwork. Whereas a horse like this little guy here is so kind and so easygoing that some people would skip past their groundwork in a lot of ways because of that. But emotionally inside, he's still carrying a lot of the same troubles that the horse that bucks does.
Mm.
He's just burying them inside. And so quietly, I'm just working this horse and quietly getting rid of those same things that another one would have. And so it's not like groundwork is for one horse and not another. To
Got it.
me, groundwork is for 100% of them. Some of them come to it faster than others, figure it out for whatever reasons, right? But it's for all of them. It's not just for the troubled ones, that's for sure.
Well, I'm excited about moving forward with the series, Ricky. I'm going to rewatch this, and I know I learned a lot already today. So let's bring this episode to a close. And on the next episode, we're going to continue this video, and we're going to see you get into the saddle and really work with Yaya and kind of see what happens from the groundwork and what you carry to the time of the saddle. So thank you, Ricky. Are you okay going forward? We'll do another one of these.
Yeah, you just tell me when, John.
All right, good. Well, we're going to go ahead and record another one. I'd like to tell you, if you want to follow Ricky Quinn, You can follow Ricky Quinn on social media. He has YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, you can always follow up on the schedule at rickyquinclinics.com. So until next time, I'm John Stewart, and on behalf of Ricky Quinn, thank you for joining us for Extra Credit.
Thank you.